talk a little bit about basic chicken anatomy. Here at the Giles Frontier, we have had backyard chickens for about 7 years now. This is Tallulah. She is a barred rock hen. She has beautiful black and white feathers. And what I want you to notice on Tallulah is she has a comb on top of her head. Her comb is nice and bright red right now because she's in laying season. Her comb is tall, and she also has what's called a wattle. If you can see underneath, she has a wattle which hangs down underneath her underneath her beak here. Now Tallulah does have ears. Chickens do have ears. They are on flush on the sides of their head. And generally the color of their ears is the color of their eggs. And I'll show you Tallulah's eggs shortly. Now Tallulah likes to scratch around. She uses her feet. She's got some big chicken feet here. She scratches around on the ground. And they have very keen eyesight. If you'll notice, her eyes are on either side of her head. They can see things, small, tiny particles on the ground that we cannot see. They use their feet to scratch through the grass or through the dirt, and they can see tiny bugs and things that we can't see. They would forage all day long if they're free-range chickens, and they would just eat and forage all day long. They don't get a lot because it takes some time to go around and look for things. But that's how she finds her food if she's not getting food from us. Now you'll also notice that Tallulah has a beak, a nice pretty beak. Chickens do not have teeth, they have beaks, and that is how they eat their food. Now, the other thing about chickens is because their eyes are on the sides of their head and not in front like humans, it also makes them prey for animals. That's generally how you can tell animals that are lower on the food chain. So yes, Tallulah has to be protected inside of her coop because there's hawks around here that enjoy them, raccoons, and different things. So if you do have backyard chickens, you want to make sure that your coop has some type of protection to keep them safe. So we lock ours up at night, and they also have an enclosed run that they like to be in. Now Tallulah's eggs are a beautiful beige color, then I'll show you our eggs a little bit later. Our backyard chickens, Tallulah is 7 years old. They start laying when they're around 6 months old, and it really varies on how long chickens will lay eggs. I kind of think 7 years old is pretty old for a chicken to lay eggs. She still lays, not very often as she would have when she was younger. I would say her laying season is about half of what it used to be, and she lays about half the eggs that she did before. Right now she's laying about 3 eggs a week, which seems to be a lot for her, but she'll probably do that just for a couple months and then she'll be done for the summertime. So again, this is Tallulah. She is a barred rock hen. These make great backyard chickens. They're very friendly with children. She's a good size and nice to hold. See if I can get her up a little bit. She's not going to be happy about that. But again, I want to get closer so you can see her comb and her wattle. So that's going to be different than the next chicken that I show you. See, her comb is a nice bright red. When they're not laying, their comb will be a dull pinkish color. So that's how you can tell if they're in laying season as well. So next up, I'm going to bring out Charity, a different kind of chicken, so you can see the difference in the ones that we have here at the Giles Frontier. Next up, this is Charity. She is an Americana chicken, which many people call an Easter egger. The reason why they call them Easter eggers is generally if you're going to give chickens at Easter time, which I don't recommend, they lay pretty different color eggs that are blue and green. So this is one of Charity's eggs. It's a nice pretty green color, and sometimes they can be olive, just depends on the day. But I wanted to show you some characteristics about Charity that are a little different than Tallulah. If you can see, Charity has what's called a rose comb on the top of her head. It's not a tall comb like Tallulah's was. It's very small, it's kind of bunched up and crumply, and it's called a rose comb. She also, if you'll notice, does not have a wattle that hangs down below. She has what's called a beard. Yes, she has a beard. And she also has muff. The black on both sides is called a muff that kind of puffs out from her ears. Now Charity does have greenish color ears. If you would look behind, you wouldn't be able to see them on camera, but right behind her eyes is their ears. Like I said before, they're flush with their head. And if you move her muff around, you can see the greenish color. Like I said before, generally the color of their earlobes is the color of their eggs. Now Charity has beautiful colored feathers, lots of copper and different things on her. She doesn't like the camera. Ooh. And she can blend in very well with our landscape and surroundings. You can't see her very much around the bottoms of trees and in leaves. She can disguise herself very well. She's also much smaller than Tallulah. Tallulah is a big stock chicken, and a lot of backyard chickens that families have for eggs are bigger chickens. Charity is a little bit smaller, which means she can also fly better. Charity is often seen flying around the yard. She can get up on the fence post, she can get up on the swing, different things, but you won't see Tallulah flying very often because she's a little bit heavier. She'd rather go under fences than over them. Charity, they are very nice chickens to have. We have 2 of the Americanas here at the Giles Frontier. Charity is also 7 years old. Sometimes she's friendly. They're not friendly, but she's more of a solitary bird. She actually enjoys being off by herself, but she does like to be with the group inside our coop. Now Charity, the Americanas are a nice addition to having backyard chickens. There are lots of different breeds of chickens that are best for your backyard. And generally people have them for eggs instead of meat. So sometimes you want a chicken that's friendly with children, that's pretty, that likes to be held. And in our experience, doing that from when they're very young will make them more social birds and enjoy being around people. Now, sometimes you can hold them all you want and that's just not their personality. That's the same for Charity. She doesn't mind being held, but I'll tell you her favorite is Grayson. If Grayson's holding her, she'll stay there all day. But the rest of us, as you can see, she doesn't care very much. But I wanted to show you the difference, especially in the different types of combs that they can have, the beard and the muff, which makes her different than the type of chicken that Tallulah is. She still has a beak like the rest. Chickens, again, do not have teeth. They do have claws, if you can see on their feet. They have claws, and that's what helps them scratch around. They dig around in like a 3-part pattern on the ground, and that's how they find their food. They love insects and bugs and all kinds of different things. Now, Charity here is one of our favorites. Again, she's 7 years old, which is kind of old for a hen. As you can see, her comb is red as well. She is laying right now. And again, when she's not laying, her comb is a real pale pink color. She's getting a little edgy, so we might let her go. And I want to show you their eggs up close. So if you can see her before I let her go, her beautiful, beautiful feathers. This is Charity. Now these are some eggs I collected over the last 2 days. This is Charity, if you can see the pretty green color. These 2 right here is Tallulah. And sometimes hers can be a little bit more beige, sometimes a peachy color. And this one right here is our other Americana. Her name is Rosetta, and her eggs are almost a little olive color. So these are the different kind of eggs that we get here at the Giles Frontier. Again, having backyard chickens is a lot of fun. Right now we just have 3, which is kind of a nice number if you're in a neighborhood and you have a small coop and you just want the experience of having hens in your yard. You know, when we started to have chickens 7 years ago, we did it as a homeschool experiment just to see what it would be like and learn where your food comes from. I never dreamed that I would become a crazy chicken lady and really enjoy having backyard chickens. So if it's allowed in your neighborhood and your family decides to, having backyard chickens is a lot of fun. If not, there are so many people who have chickens that would love to show you their place, and also some people who raise chickens. Being able to see a commercial scale farm is also a good idea as well for young children to see how the eggs are that get to your grocery store. So there might be something in your neighborhood, in your town, that you can go and visit. So that's our lesson for basic chicken anatomy.